Okay, so now we've let our boules rest for about 10 minutes. We're going to flour our counter, and then we are going to shape them into their final shape, into a Batard shape. So we'll flour the top of this a little bit, and a little flour on our freehand. We're going to gently lift the boule, and then turn it over onto our floured counter. You kind of want to have some lightly floured hands. Stretch it out into sort of a square, and then we are going to fold both sides in. So stretch it out, fold it over, tuck it, stretch it out, fold it over so that the seam is overlapping, okay? Then you want to just taper just ever so slightly so the top is just a little wider than the bottom. Then you're going to flour our hands again. And then we're going to sort of flop it over our thumbs and just push it against the counter to get a little friction on it to develop a skin on the dough. So we flop it over, push it back, flop it, push it back, just like that. And so then if you have a little bit of this sort of untucked edges here, then you can just pull the top over and tuck it, give it a little pinch if you want, and then we are going to move it over here to rest to let that bottom seam heal a little bit and flour it up. I'm going to do it again here. Flour our counter, flour our boule of dough, get under it with the bench knife, gently turn it over, stretch it out. Somewhat of a square. When you feel the dough sticking in your hands, it's when you need to flour up a little bit. Pull out, and then fold it over, pull out, or fold it over so the seam overlaps, and then just do just sort of a gentle taper from a little fatter on the top than the bottom. Flour up again. Then we're going to do that rolling over thing where we're pushing against the counter to develop some friction and some skin on the dough. Flop it over, and you're pushing against the counter. I'm kind of rolling it. Okay. And then you can pull these edges over to tuck anything sticking out. And then we're going to flour this one up again. And then I'm just going to let that rest for a little bit. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to move the our floured basket. So we've got our two lined baskets here that I've floured with half whole wheat dough and half brown rice flour. So we'll flour our freehand. I think I'll flour this up a little bit more. Flour our freehand, and then we are going to gently invert the dough onto our freehand, bring it over to the basket, and we're going to want to like tuck in, see sort of this unseamliness with the seam here. So we're going to want to, like, with your floured hand, it's always good to have a little bit of flour on your fingers here. You're basically going to tuck this in and pinch it. Tuck it in and pinch it closed. And that helps to develop more skin on the dough and also seals the seam. So you sort of tuck it in and pinch it like that. So it looks like the kind of the seam of a football. So that's all nice and pinched in, because this is going to be the top of the dough now, but it's going to become the bottom of the loaf later, because you're going to invert that. So now we'll flour this up a little bit. And do the same thing. We're going to get under it with the bench knife. Put it into our floured hand. Then we are going to kind of pinch these seams to just tighten them up and develop that final skin on the dough. There we go. Pinch this together. There we go. You see some bubbles there. So then we'll just give a little bit of dusting of flour on top. so it won't stick to the basket as much when it expands. And then finish up and just cover it with your cloth, your towel, so that it doesn't skin over. And then we're going to want to let it proof on your counter for like 45 to 60 minutes, and then put it in your fridge overnight to retard. That's it.